First question will be from Jay.
Hey, Brian, it's Jay with the Buffalo News. How you doing?
Good, Jay. How are you?
Good, thank you. How do you balance right now, this time of year, when you are interviewing for other jobs, chasing really a dream versus keeping the focus on what you guys are trying to accomplish in-house, knowing, the enormity of the game that you have coming up?
Yeah, I respect that question. I think they do a good job here of allotting the time that you can do to speak to another club, but you quickly turn the page. This has been a few years that we've talked about this, and it's pretty easy to get your focus where you need to get your focus, which is strictly on the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, very good. Thanks, Brian.
Yep, you got it.
Hey, Brian, it's Kim Jones. Can you hear me okay?
I got you, Kim. How are you?
I'm great, and I hope you are too. I might be, my eyes on watching on TV might be deceiving me, but is Devin Singletary faster, or has he found a little burst that maybe has shown up in the second half of the season?
Yeah, he's done a really good job for us. Really, Kim, since he's been here. But he's one of those players. Each year he's been here, he's improved, and obviously we have given the ball some here in the last quarter, or a little bit more than that, of the season, and he's really taken advantage of his opportunities, and he's got a good skill set. We have a lot of trust and confidence in him.
And if I may, do you ever prep a quarterback, Josh, or other quarterbacks over the years, if the safeties he's facing are particularly good in terms of being ball hawks, perhaps because they used to play baseball? I mean, is that part of what you get into with a quarterback, in prep?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think, look, you go through all the players on the roster that you're playing, and you try to give good synopsis of strengths and weaknesses and what they're really good at. And look, there's guys back there that are really good. Honey Badger being one of them, that you got to be aware of where he's at, because he's such an instinctive player. That you just want to be lobbing it up in the middle of the field. When those guys are around, you got to make good decisions.
I appreciate you, Brian. Thanks so much.
You got it. Thank you.
Hey, Brian, it's Heather. Good to see you.
Hey, Heather. See you. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Going back to the running game, just how beneficial and important is it for you guys to have that two-dimensional offense, especially, opposing defenses are going to try to play that, too high safety look, try to, limit the deep shots downfield. Just how important is it to have Devin rolling the way that he is at this time of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to try to be good at whatever you play, whether it's run game, pass game, or whatever you call it. Sorry, run game, pass game, red zone, third down, all those things matter. You never know, how many runs you're going to have or how many passes you're going to have. You have a plan going into the game, and throughout the game you adjust, but you'd like to be able to, whatever you call, you'd like to be able to go out there and execute at a high level.
Is there anything that Josh, does anything just cease to amaze you about what Josh can do? Because first drive, he said he didn't mean to throw it to Dawson there. He's like, I actually was trying to throw it away, and I thought I was throwing it away, and it ends up in the back of the end zone. Just, I mean, yeah. Are you surprised by anything anymore?
No, he's come a long way. We've had plenty of conversations about Josh Allen since he got here, where he should be drafted, where he shouldn't be drafted, what he did wrong, what he didn't do wrong. It seems like it's a never-ending conversation here these last few years. The thing that you respect about Josh is he just puts his head down, he goes to work, and it was a good throwaway. He was back in the end line where no one else could get it, and Dawson made a great catch on it. So, Josh, and how humble Josh is. He'd be the first one to admit he's always looking to get better and improve. And, that's a fortunate thing about dealing with a good player like Josh is his mindset of, he's never satisfied with anything that he does. And, that's hard quality to find sometimes with guys.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you.
You got it.
So, Brian, is Josh going to have to practice his throwaways this week to make sure they're too high for Dawson?
No, I think he'll be okay there. I think he'll be okay there. Credit Dawson. Dawson made a heck of a play.
Worked out really well. I wanted to ask more about Tommy Doyle, actually. Just what have
Yeah.
you seen of him this season? How has he grown in his time with y'all?
Yeah, well, I think he's really fit into the room well with all the other offensive linemen, the veterans, him and Spencer. They both have they're funny guys, behind the scenes a little bit. Bobby and Bobby Johnson and Ryan Wendell have really done a good job with the young guys. They've done a good job with all of them of helping them develop. And, whatever we ask him to do, he's been ready to go. He's, tough, he's smart, he's dependable. I'd say three things that we covet for our offensive linemen. And, he's improved since day one he's been here. So he's done a nice job for us.
I know you guys always want to score, but how fun is it to have a guy like him score in a playoff game? Like, does, the magnitude of that game make it any bigger?
No, look, we're happy when anybody scores. I know there's these big guys score, and there's a lot of people get excited, particularly the big guys, and you like to see that. They're those are the guys that have their hands in the dirt all the game, and they're blocking for people and protecting people, and it's a hard job to do. And when they can make a play catching the ball, you like to see that for those guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
You got it.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Good, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. Watching Isaiah the last month or so in the offense, obviously smaller player, but you see what a guy like Deebo Samuel does when you get a chance to watch some of these other teams. And that versatility seems so beneficial for somebody in your spot that's kind of dialing things up. How much we've talked about Isaiah a ton, but how much has his impact in recent weeks and what you're able to do with him helped the offense kind of in this really successful run that you guys have had here?
Yeah, look, he's got a certain skill set that we try to utilize. It's not just motions and stuff like that. He can do a lot of other things. Again, you can have, I'd like to think we have, a good amount of skilled players that we have a lot of confidence and trust in. And you try to put five in the game that, you're never always going to have the same five guys. You've seen the way we kind of spread it out last week, and he's been a good asset for us. You guys know how I feel about Isaiah. I know players feel the same way, and when he's had an opportunity, he's made some plays for us.
And then Chris Jones obviously wasn't there week 5 in game planning for him, and we've talked about him in the past. You played him last year in the AFC title game. What makes it so challenging to prepare for him in terms of what he's able to do on different spots in the line?
He's really good. He's really good. He stands out. We're up there preparing right now, and he's just a dynamic player. He's big, he's long, he's powerful, he's got explosiveness, he's got quickness for a bigger guy. He's a problem. When he's inside, they played him some outside, and he's worked inside, and they got Ingram now and Clark, and it's just their defensive line creates a lot of issues, and they're tough to block. So, he's a really good player.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Coach Daboll, Mookie Hawkins, Buffalo Sports 1080. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, Mook. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. And you had me having flashbacks like you was back at Bama at the national championship game, the way you was dialing it up Saturday night. How much joy does it bring you when you can keep teams off balance with balance, plus getting all your weapons involved?
Well, I'd say that the biggest thing you get out of it is a win. That's what brings you joy. And then, watching your players go out there and execute, because they're the ones that deserve all the credit. They're the ones that are laying it on the line and, blocking, protecting, throwing, catching, running. It's a player's game. So getting a win doesn't really matter how you win. It's hard to get the wins in this league. And particularly this time of year, that's what gives me joy. And, seeing how hard the assistant coaches work with the players. Those guys have done a great job. And, you get a win, you keep moving on, and then you get right back to work. And, you enjoy these late nights here in middle of January and end of January, because it means you're continuing to play. So got a lot of work to do this week.
Absolutely. And just what Matt was saying, the big bad bully, Chris Jones, he didn't play last game. So how important will it be to stay with this new aggressive balanced attack?
Well, we're going to try to do what we need to do. So that's what we're doing upstairs, right now. It's what we'll do tomorrow, the next day. And, hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have a plan that we feel good about and be ready to adjust if we need to adjust. That I've said this before, week we were playing him earlier in the year, Spags is a really good coordinator. He's been in a lot of successful places. He's done a lot of good things, and he's got a lot of good players, and they're experienced. It's tough to play at their place. It's a huge challenge for us.
Coach, I know it's high school basketball season, and if the girls are playing, tell them I said good luck, and good luck to you as well this Sunday night.
Thanks, Moo. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Brian. I've heard in the past that, sometimes you hold things back in the regular season or against a certain opponent in preparation of maybe seeing them down the line. How accurate is that? And how much do you maybe have that in the back of your mind when you see a team you may see down the line?
Yeah, you don't hold things back if it's going to help you win. So I've never, gone into a game and said, hey, let's hold this. And look, you got to try. These games are hard to win, as you guys have seen each and every week. You need your best. So if that play is going to help you win, or you think it's going to help you win, then you go ahead and use it. Now, do you get to a certain point in the game if you're up and you don't want to show something? Yeah, absolutely, that happens. But just because you play a team the second time or you're not guaranteed to play anybody second time except teams in your division. So, anything we got to do to try to win, that's what we'll always do.
And then this is the second straight week. You're facing a team that you've seen a lot, not only this season, but recently in years past. What are the pros and cons to being familiar or I guess facing the team in so many times in such a short period of time?
Yeah, well, this team, it's like a division game, right? This is the second time we'll play them. Last year we played them twice. So, you play your teams in your division and you have certain familiarity with whether it's play style or, personnel. But, you go back and you watch them, I think it was the fifth week or sixth week, whatever it was in the beginning part of the season. There's a lot of games from then until now. And you spend time evaluating and watching. So it's just, it's in this venue again, it's a competitive game against a really good team, a great atmosphere and a big game. So we're going to need our best.
Appreciate it, Brian. Thank you.
You got it.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for some time here on a Monday. I know you had a busy weekend.
Hey, Chris. All right.
Good. You had one of your most balanced snap share games for your receivers, at least your top 5 guys in last week's game. As much as you look at matchups and all of those kinds of things going into your game plan, is there somewhat of an advantage going into a postseason, as healthy as your guys are, when you can balance the snap share as much as you do, knowing in most cases the opposing defense's top 3 corners are playing the whole game? I guess what I'm getting at is fresh legs late in the game.
Yeah, we have guys that we have, confidence in. All the guys, in that room that have played for us at some point in time. And, I give, the credit to Chad Hall and Mark Lubick of, using those guys where we need to use them. They've done a great job with that group. And the same thing with those guys. It's amazing when, you're not worried about who gets credit or anything like that. Everybody kind of, shines when their opportunity is out there and they're ready to go. And, it's a really unselfish group. I got a lot of respect for all those guys right down the line. So, and we're going to need all of them here. How many plays they play next time, I have no idea, but we're going to need each and every one to be ready to roll here.
Good enough. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, Chris.
Hey, Brian. How are you?
Hi, Elena. Good, Elena. How are you?
Good, thanks. I was curious. I know it wasn't perfect and there's always things to fix and Josh is hard on himself, but do you feel like looking back on this game Saturday, was that one of the best performances you've seen from him? Did it, does it stand out in your mind in any way? Or do you feel like, it's similar to things you've seen from Josh in the past?
Yeah, I think Josh has had a lot of good games here. And again, I'll just say this about Josh is, he's never satisfied with really anything he does. And that's not just in a game. And then I know the stats are the stats. The production was the production, but, it could be practice. We're out there and, we're throwing a route last week and on a Wednesday where we're trying to get a little bit of work, and he's got to throw it, 4 or 5 times just because it's not at the exact right spot. So, that's what you really appreciate about a guy like him is, he's going to work until he can't get it wrong. That's really the case with him. And, he's played a lot of good football for us, got a lot of confidence. I've said that many times before, but he's never satisfied, and that's what you appreciate about him.
And then I was curious, I know sacks aren't always the best stat, but I mean, he's on a streak now. It's 4 straight games. It hasn't come anywhere close to that in his career of not being sacked. I know there's a lot of things that go into that. Is there anything that stands out to you of why you guys have been so successful at keeping him upright? Is it the line? Is it like what goes into that from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, to me, sacks is a team stat. Everybody, can put it on the offensive line, but, it takes all 11. It takes the timing and rhythm of the passing game. It takes good decisions. It takes the backs understanding who to block, if there's protection responsibility, or getting out fast if there isn't. And then it takes the line communicating the looks that they're getting. Are they getting an odd look? Are they getting an even look? Are they walking different linebackers up? So everybody's got to be dialed in. That's why all those stats that are out there, most of them are team stats because it takes all 11 guys to be dialed in and run a play properly on offense. So we got a big challenge this week in regards to that. I know that.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hey, Daboll, Dan here in Rochester. Hope you had a good Sunday, man.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you.
My question is also on Josh, and just seemed like we've always talked about last year about his growth and his development and his maturity from, going into his 3rd year. But 2020, it was kind of smooth sailing for most part. What have you seen this year dealing with some highs and lows of maybe the expectations with the MVP talks from coming off that year? How has he handled kind of the ups and downs?
Yeah, expectations are, external things. So I think what you do as a coach, as a teacher, is you teach that right off the bat. You talk about it and really focus on the things that you can control internally, which is our preparation, our work ethic, our commitment to get better. And look, he understands. He's been doing this for 4 years here, and look, we're always going to try to help him as a coaching staff in terms of development, but things aren't always going to go perfect. And I think the trait of being a good leader, and certainly at the quarterback position, your leader, is consistency. Let's not get too low. Let's not get too high. If we believe in our process and we think our process is right, then we're fine. The results are the results. We understand we live in a results-driven world in business, but we have a lot of confidence in our process and our communication. And then if we need to change that on our end as a coaching staff, that's what we try to do and tweak things, whether it's a new period in practice or a technique or a different play. But I think, the important thing for Josh is to remain consistent. Look, it's not to say when you lose a game, you're not pissed off, you're not upset about it, because certainly you are. You put everything you got into it for that week, and you only got one time a week to play it. But to stay consistent with his teammates, his approach, his process, his routine, he's really grown a lot in that area. I've got a lot of respect for him and how he handles himself.
Just going off there real quick, you talk about the mindset, and I know he's credited you with your mentality of competitiveness. He talks about your story about quitting dipping and things like that. You guys are now going into you guys are in your 3rd postseason together. When you look back do you look back at how you prepped for the Houston game, mind-wise, like how you prepped and things like that over the last 2 years? Has anything changed? Have you grown in that sense together, guys?
Yeah, I think you always try to grow. If you're not growing, you're probably not improving. Specifically to talk about that game, I think we draw from experiences from the 4 years that we've been together, and whether that's a preparation process, whether that's a play, whether it's coverage we've seen, whether it's something that came up last week that we haven't seen for the last 10 weeks, but it came up last week. I think it's important. That relationship is very special to me, and there's a lot of give and take with that, along with Doris and Shea and the other quarterbacks. Experience together and time together is important, because you can lean on one another from things from the past. But ultimately, and you've heard me say this, the best thing to do is play well on Sunday.
That's all we have time for today. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.